Hello and welcome to the Walk in Love podcast. I'm TJ.
And I'm Brooke.
And today we're going to have a no-note show. Welcome to the Walk in Love podcast, a weekly conversation between Brooke and I about emotions, rhythms, marriage, parenting, and faith. It's a place where we laugh and sometimes cry as we try to find language to live a full life. And today is an episode that is...
No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
No notes?
No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
No.
So, it's the best audio clip. No notes episodes are... I think they started with collections. Or, I don't know. Anyways,
I feel like they
I don't
started
know.
before that.
But it's like, I feel like now it's tradition that we do one like right after
It's
a
an
collection.
unintentional
Yes.
tradition.
Because by the time we've done all the collection work, which
Mhm.
is fun and enjoyable, our brains feel a little fried because we've just been like thinking and answering questions and, making content and making videos and like doing all this stuff that we do. Like this, and so like by the time we get to the podcast after a collection, we're just like, okay, what do you want to talk about? I don't know.
What are we doing?
What do you want to talk about? I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
What are we doing?
Exactly.
So no notes.
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 No.
And we have we're back on YouTube. Tried something new last week. It did not work. Well, the videos worked. They just looked really weird because Brooke looked at mine. We're trying to do like the cross recording.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at Brooke and I was like, "You look good." She looked at mine. She said, "You look good." And then we put them side by side, and they were so different in color
This
temperature
looks bad.
that it was like I couldn't.
I just couldn't do it. I couldn't put it out. It was way too
So
bad.
we're just going back to the regular. We're super wide angle though right now.
yeah. That's
Brooke's
pretty
into
far
it.
away.
You into it?
Sure.
I'm into it. Yeah, collection is live. We are releasing this podcast on Sunday instead of Monday to give you one last reminder that the collection is live
Mm-hmm.
and you can still shop. This is the last time we'll be open before Christmas. Well, it's not technically true.
I was thinking about that today, and I was like, how do we say this where it is true? This is the last time we will be open for a collection.
Well, even that's
Yeah, but that's also open with other things,
true.
which are not.
If
a
you
thing.
want any item that's in the shop right now for Christmas or for a Christmas gift, you will not have another chance
Correct.
to buy it.
Correct.
That is a true statement. I'm just the one thing I'll say early now is that the butt clenchers might want to just put a little circle around Black Friday.
Yeah.
It's the day after Thanksgiving,
Mhm.
the day before the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So it's right nestled in there, right between Thursday and Saturday. It's that Friday. Just circle it on your calendar. Maybe just
Be
write
aware.
butt clench special. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's
Don't give it away.
I'm not giving it
Okay?
away.
I
I'm
get
not
so
giving it away.
nervous because
what I often sometimes am like so excited about because of the way we do our work and the way we release collections is it's hard for me because like I'm planning the next thing while the current thing is for sale.
yes.
And so that's always a challenge for me because I want to start hyping the next thing,
Mhm.
but I don't want to distract from the current thing because the current thing is great.
Right.
But when I was designing the current thing,
Yeah.
the last thing was for sale, and so I couldn't
Right.
hype the current thing, and so
Right.
it's just that's hard for me. But
I understand that that's hard for you. Actually, I don't understand. I empathize with
thank you,
for you with
thank
you
you.
for you.
But yeah, the collection is live, so if you want one of these items as a Christmas gift or for yourself, this is your last chance. We close tonight, Sunday night at midnight, aka when I get up on Monday morning Hawaii time. So you do have some extra hours, but get those orders in. And if everybody that listens to the podcast bought one Christmas gift from Walk in Love, that would be an incredible
Game changers. Changes to the game such that the game can never be played the same way again.
and we would be so grateful. And honestly, if I do say so myself, I think a Walk in Love shirt or a sweatshirt makes a great gift.
It's true.
Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. feel like you're looking at me kind of weird.
I'm not looking at you weird. I got barely any sleep last night, so I'm a little like.
Well, tell the audience why.
No, I just had a friend over and we were.
Yeah, you were gallivanting.
Oh no, I was eating popcorn and holding in my farts while a friend was here. That's what I was doing.
So B&B After Dark is so Brooke's friend Bianca comes over and they call it B&B After Dark.
Yeah. Someday we'll have a podcast that we only record at night when we're like totally loopy and and it's an interesting treat.
I would expect B&B After Dark to be a fart-friendly zone.
I'm sure that it is, and if she listens to this, I guarantee I'll get a text that says fart away or let it fly or something. But I don't know. Because you just don't know what kind it's going to be. And so it's real risky. I just don't know if I'm in the risk zone yet.
What are your different kinds?
There's just different kinds.
Yeah,
we
different
don't need to go into them.
There's
today,
volume,
but
length.
yeah, just it all depends.
Have you ever seen that video clip of the guy trying to drop the folder on the floor to cover his fart? He drops it, it hits, and then he farts. So
No.
his timing is so off. Gunk.
It doesn't match up at all. No, I've never seen that.
So it's good. Yeah, so Collections Live. You got one more day if you're listening to this on Sunday. Brooke's real worried about us releasing it on Sunday. She thinks it's going to throw everybody out of whack.
I don't think it's going to throw everybody out of whack. I was asking more from like algorithms are the worst. And it's like, I'm nervous that if we release off schedule, that it might do something. Because I feel like it's all out of our control.
Yeah, I mean, that's mostly
It's
true.
100% true, which is not fun.
But isn't that true about life?
Oh, yes.
Can't control everything, Brooke.
And it's not fun.
You also probably have a chance to shop the collection if you're listening to this Monday morning, because again, if you're listening on
Mainland time.
East Coast, I'm still asleep.
Right.
And if I wake up to some more orders, I'll be pumped.
True.
So,
True.
all right, yes. So the collection's live. We love it. We're so thankful for you. So many good items.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stop talking about it.
Clearly, we're 7 minutes in.
I told the fart story. Okay.
Okay,
Back
okay.
off, Brooke.
Okay.
Back off. How was your week, Brooke?
My week was good. Today is, well, for us, today is Thursday. So I literally have to say it out loud in order to back up a whole week. So we launched to subscribers last Thursday.
Yes.
That's what was happening.
Which was awesome.
That was super awesome.
Because it was awesome for two reasons. One, it's fun having subscribers and like giving them more. And when we say subscribers, we mean there's
Instagram
you
subscribers.
can subscribe on Instagram and you get more content, behind the scenes, bigger discount code, and 1 day early access.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're circling that Friday after Thanksgiving,
Oh.
I guess circle the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We'll probably just do it then.
Skip Thanksgiving entirely.
Yeah.
Backing up.
So
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
and it's limited
It is.
to
It's
the literally
inventoried.
limited,
Yes.
extremely rare, valuable pieces
Valuable. I love
that make my heart sing with the joy of 1,000 suns.
it. Wow.
Anyway, so it was super nice. One, it was just like fun to we started with the subscribers on Instagram. We can start subscriber group chats with just like 30 subscribers at a time. And so we did a couple of those.
Yeah.
So it was just fun. Like people were asking questions and like other subscribers were answering them, like, how does this one fit? Or what kind is this? And then it was also nice because like when we're trying to prepare for a collection, it's like, we're trying to make sure that all the collections are like all the literal like shop sweatshirts, shop t-shirts, like have all the items in it.
Yeah.
And sometimes like
Shop by color, shop by this.
and so
yeah.
sometimes it can get like a little confusing because you're just like, I've been staring at a computer screen for 48 hours straight and I'm like, okay, I think I got it all. And then someone's like, hey, this design's missing. It's not on the website. And you're like, oh yeah. But when that happens, like on day one, when we launch and there's like a ton of people on the site,
Yeah.
that like gets like, that's hard because like,
It's hard.
you're getting like,
which is, I love that people notice and that they're trying to be helpful. I really do.
but it's more
But
panicked
it's
feeling.
more panicked because you get 50 messages saying, where's the fight, the good fight, instead of one or two, which
And so
was
it
like,
was-
hey, we'll fix that.
it
Thank
was-
you.
Yeah. It was just like, I I can't believe how much it like relieved some of the like prep stress that I got.
Launch.
Like it was just so
pressure.
helpful.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so subscribe on Instagram, early access. You might want that
Right.
in the days to come.
So anyway, a week ago
Yeah, we were launching.
we launched to subscribers. So I honestly feel like once we launched, which was on Thursday, I feel like my Thursday to Thursday week was mostly good.
Yeah.
It like shifts after we open. It's like stressful, specifically this time around because of the tight time turnaround. We usually have about 2-ish weeks to get a collection ready, and we had 2.5 days. So that was a thing.
Yeah.
We did it though. We did it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like some of that like bottled pressure of getting that done trickled over into the first week of us being open for me, which
Yeah.
is not typical.
Right.
Usually we have all the time to get ready, we open, and then it's like, hey, we're open. People are shopping, doing their thing. Yeah, I still have some things to do and some emails and some like videos to make.
We're still always making
I'm
content.
absolutely engaged
while
in
we're
making
open.
stuff, but it's like I've come down a level of like, I don't know, on a scale of what, like stress 1 to 10, I've just come down a couple numbers. And I don't feel like that happened. I feel like it was delayed,
Yeah.
and which was just like surprising to me. And then it was mostly just surprising. And
Right.
as always, I was surprised. Like shouldn't I have noticed that would probably happen to me? You know.
Perfect statement to describe you at times.
Yes.
I'm surprised that I'm surprised.
Or I'm annoyed that I'm surprised.
Annoyed
or
is probably more
I'm
accurate.
Frustrated, or I'm
Yeah.
disappointed that I'm surprised. Like,
Yeah.
and Bianca and I were talking about that, not specifically the topic, but just last night of like how I so often feel like I should have known, I should have seen it coming, I
Right.
should have. And she was like, well, I don't think she cares if I share this, but she has, her therapist's name is Laura. And so we joke all the time. What would Laura say? What would Laura tell us? And like, I've never met Laura. I don't go see her. I tried to, and her wait list was so long. I was like, I don't have time for that right now. I'm just kidding. And so anyway, she was like, well, Laura always tells me that should is a shame word. And it was like,
Gosh.
you know, which is like, it's true. Like, not in like a shame, like, oh, Brooke, you're bad. Like,
Right.
not necessarily like that, but just in like a, yeah, like I'm often frustrated at myself. And I was like this as a little kid. I just didn't have the words to explain it. I'm sure maybe my behavior did, but like, yeah, I always felt like I should have seen it coming. And so when I don't see something coming, I get very frustrated.
Yeah.
Of like, I could have prevented this if I had just, I don't know, thought about it more.
But could you have?
No. Oh no.
Yeah.
So rarely
Right.
I mean, every once in a while. And that's where like, oh, I should have done that. And it's like a real casual use of the
Right.
word and the phrase. Like, I should have brought sunglasses to the beach. Yeah,
And I
that's
think that's
probably
why
a good
it's,
idea.
it's so irritating when someone is like, you know what you should have done?
Yeah.
Because you're just like, I don't
Well, and for me, I my internal response, which is maybe a little snippy, but it's internal, so that's good, is always like, do you think I didn't think of that? Like, that's where you're just bothered that people are offering, in any scenario. I'm
Right.
not talking about the internet. It's like, I just mean
Yeah.
anytime, anywhere. You know what you should have done? Like, what's your root of annoyance in that?
I think it's like, it's a
Yours
way.
is like, I didn't ask, or
Well, I think when people are like, you know what you should have done, to me, it's so filled with like, you're kind of dumb judgment towards me that I'm just
Right.
like, I'm not dumb. I'm not dumb. I'm smart.
which
I'm smart.
I a
I'm
smart
a smart
kid.
man.
which is,
Why waste time? Say lot word when few word do trick.
you know, honestly, probably like in an instant, we have just described like 10 chairs behind
Yes.
little kid versions of ourselves.
Yes.
Like, I'm not dumb. And mine is like, do you think I didn't think of that? Like,
Right.
do you think I'm not already so noticing everything and aware?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so 100%, that's what it is. So anyway, I was surprised, but not that
Yeah.
my emotions and like,
I was surprised by it.
you were surprised.
Yeah,
and
it's
that's,
just
and
like,
that's
are
where I knew
you
I
okay?
was. Yeah. And I was like, all of what I'm feeling and crying about is disproportionate to like the specific, it wasn't the specific collection. Cause like we lost our cat Cheese. Well, we didn't lose him. He was gone for like 8 or 9 days.
Mhm.
Our cats are identical looking, 2 orange male, like little orange tabby cats, and they're brothers. And I mean it, they look identical.
Mac and
Unless you
cheese.
see their faces side by side, from a distance, I can't tell who's who.
Right.
So it took us a few days to
I think
realize,
it took us one day.
at least, I think I still don't know. Because it was like you just saw one and you thought it was the one, and then you saw it again and you thought it was the other.
Because I fed him, and I always feed him in the morning.
and they should
And there was
both
only
be there.
one day that I remember of like, where's the other one?
Yeah. So anyway, he was missing for a while. Tried not to make a big deal of it to the kids
Yeah.
because I was like, he honestly could come back. We've had that happen before where a
Yep.
cat has been missing for like a week and then there she was. She just
Yep.
showed up. But I was feeling like bad or guilty that I hadn't tried harder to go find him with like signs or asking neighbors
Right.
because we had 2.5 days to get the collection ready.
Yep.
So there was a lot bottled in there of just like needing to like head down, do what I needed
Yep.
to do for the collection, which is we had already pre-decided what matters most this week, and
Yep.
that was at the top. And so I didn't have any guilt over choosing that at the top because I knew that was what needed to happen. But anyway,
It was that. It
he's
was
gone.
collection needs to get done.
It was
We got some.
it was just a lot of things.
Yeah, we got.
It was just a lot
yeah.
of other things. And so I eventually we found Cheese. Our cats are chipped. And so if somebody takes them back to the Humane League, they can scan them and call us because they know.
I was convinced that he was not dead because I walked around all the streets around our neighborhood
yeah,
and didn't find his body.
correct.
Like hit by a car or
I
something
actually
like that.
wasn't
And I was
worried
like,
that he was dead either.
What I think is he's so friendly.
So friendly and
Sonny
cute.
squeezed them as kittens into submission of being just like literally like almost ragdoll cats.
yeah,
And so I'm just like, he's got to be at someone's back porch.
he just found
Just-
a new home,
yeah,
and somebody's
it's
like,
this
he's
is
adorable.
the nicest cat I've ever met. I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah, that was my fear
Yeah.
too. That he just because growing up, I've had cats that went to live with neighbors, and it was like a much older couple, and they just kept the cat. Like she just lived in their house then,
Yeah.
and would every once in a while come to ours. And I'm like, that's technically our cat, but it's okay. So anyway, Cheese was found. Someone magically returned him, which is I think more of a cultural thing here.
Yeah.
People do that. They take cats back to the Humane League, I guess, because they know that they're chipped,
Yep.
and so they called you.
They called. I went and got him. I didn't tell the girls because I was like, what if it's not him? What if another
Doesn't
cat
make any sense.
has eaten him and now they're
Has absorbed his chip.
absorbed his chip into their body? And so I got him and I brought him home and I walked in with him and June was just like,
I know.
"Jeez." And then Brooke turned the corner and I was opening the carrier and she starts weeping.
Yes.
Like,
Again, disproportionate to Cheese returning. Was I weeping over Cheese? Absolutely. Is it my first time doing that? No. But it again, I was like, and I even said to you, half laughing, half crying, like my emotions are disproportionate to this cat returning right now, but I'm very grateful that this cat is back. I also don't fully believe it. Where is the other one? Did
Yeah.
somehow you get that one into a box at the Humane League? This doesn't make any sense. So anyway, my week was mostly good, but it did feel very up and down,
yeah.
which is I don't know. That's not ever my preference. That's
I actually
not,
think the collection work in terms of getting everything ready in a short period of time, that was easy. That we love doing that.
yeah.
I think what was hard was the samples were lost for a day.
Mm.
And so it was this day of
we might not have any samples, and we
how will
open in 3 days.
how will we take pictures if we don't have any of these things here? And so
Yeah,
I think that was
that's true. That
the-
ramped it up, and then I feel like we just kind of stayed there,
Yeah.
even though this stuff here at this level was
yeah.
fine and
Yeah.
good, and we got it done.
But
I feel like my insides didn't really come back down.
no. And I feel like that happens a lot. If you have a big important thing in life that you're working hard towards, it's afterwards you you just suppress all the emotions because you're I just need to have this baby. I just need to
Sometimes
get
that
through
happens.
this
Yeah.
deadline. I need to finish this paper. I'm going to just push all of this stuff down. And then all of a sudden you hit, publish or whatever. And you're like, oh, there they all are.
Yeah.
And I think that might be what surprised you is because it's almost we don't we didn't really do our check-ins, which again shows the value of those because it was
Mhm.
we put the kids to bed and we came right back up here and finished what we needed to finish. And then so it was definitely just a full week of oh man, we got a lot to do.
Yeah.
And then because we make all the content in our house, it's just a constant shift of
Yeah.
like right now, none of our clothes have hangers because
None of our personal clothes
because
have hangers.
we're using all the hangers on our items because we need to.
Yeah.
And
Which
so-
I also don't understand. How did we hang shirts last Christmas?
well, this collection's bigger,
Okay, so
And
we're just off in our hanger count. I
and
don't
we used to
understand.
not hang like we used to only hang like smalls and mediums, and now we hang every size
Oh,
because
that's-
we steam every
that's what it is.
size. And so yeah, there's
Everything's hanging
Yeah,
instead of
so-
only certain ones.
so there's just a pile of clothes.
I was like, what is going on with our hanger
but it's like
counting
it's not
here?
really worth it to buy.
that many more.
that many
well,
more
I don't know.
hangers?
I might change that
Okay,
because having all of our clothes on the floor is not helping my insides.
it's not.
It's not. It's definitely not.
What's driving you crazy this week?
Surprisingly, not that because something's driving me more crazy.
That is.
The garbage porch swing on the back porch that we cut. It wasn't ours. It was here and we bought the house. We cut it down because we don't use it and it's in a bad place and blah blah blah. But it's heavy and it's huge because somebody built it for that space. So we cut it down so the girls could play on the like
It's a really weird. It was like it's a
step
very odd
area
design.
below it. But now we have to physically move it and it's just big. So is it sitting there getting blasted by the sprinkler every day? Absolutely.
That's fine.
Do I ever think about it? No, it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm fine. It's totally fine.
Oh, you're gonna make it, babe. I believe in you. The
Yeah.
Lord is giving you these obstacles to refine
Oh, right.
you.
Yeah.
And so I think,
prayed for patience and the Lord didn't give me more patience. He gave me more opportunities to be patient.
yeah,
Ah!
I will murder those opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay. You had a Mount Rushmore for us?
Yes. Mount Rush.
Rushmore, Rushmore, Rushmore of mountains.
I'm nervous to keep talking because I feel like you're going to come back with a caw and a zap.
I'm free.
Mount Rushmore of your favorite ages. I'll say / grades
Okay.
because sometimes it's hard to keep track of growing up.
All right.
Because sometimes I'm like, I don't know how old I was. I just know I was in 4th grade.
Okay.
So should I go first?
Yeah.
Again, these are not in order. I'm just going to go chronologically and work my way up.
All right. Are you also going to give us your vibe?
Sure. Okay, so Mount Rushmore being 4 things. So 1, probably 4th grade.
Okay.
Definitely nothing before 4th grade because I cried every day of school through 3rd grade. Somewhat, actually not through 3rd grade, through 2nd grade.
Like, oh, well, I guess I'm a loser.
And so I won't add those because of that reason. 3rd grade actually wasn't
Cried
that bad,
because of
except that my
why?
teacher had a total like emotional psychological breakdown in front of us, and we got a substitute for this whole second half of the year. So it's like 3rd grade was fine. I'm not like, is that why I'm suddenly weeping at night over cheese? No, it's fine. But I don't know. But 4th grade. So, and I think I've said it before in here. 4th grade was the year that I was like, yeah, I totally know what's going on. I got this. I went for the short haircut. So like pretty short, like a bob. And I remember
Wow.
wearing a very specific dusty lime. Also, I'm going to bring the lime
Whoa.
tone down to like a dusty lime. Was it limited to? Absolutely. Turtleneck.
Oof.
A lot. I really liked it. It was almost like a melon honeydew color. And I just remember thinking, yeah, me and you, teacher, same.
And this is what all your classmates were thinking.
Oh, there's a very good chance. I will say that I helped a lot of kids learn gymnastics on the during recess. So
Nice.
maybe that balanced out
Okay. The melon.
the melon vibes.
The melon
I don't know.
turtleneck.
But I just remember 4th grade. I remember some of what I was thinking in 4th grade
Mm-hmm.
and just like, yeah, you got this. Like, you totally know what's going on. And you and the teacher are basically the same. So 4th grade. And then I would jump to so I was homeschooled 6th, 7th, and 8th. So I think I'd really jump to 7th.
Okay.
I feel like that was a year, and maybe it wasn't like
Primetime homeschool.
spot on, but it was like right in the middle of homeschooling where I feel like I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed it all 3 years, but I just remember I got to just like make art all day
Yeah.
and cook food and play outside and like just do all the things I loved, because I would do my English, my grammar, all that stuff quickly. And like, it wouldn't take me long. And so then I would have the rest of the day. So I just remember really enjoying that aspect. And then I would say when I was 16, I'm switching to an age now, 16, which would have been, for me, would have been 10th grade. I would have turned 16 October of 10th grade. So just like a month and a half into school, I turned 16, and I had a big, fun 16th birthday party.
Wow.
Outside with like,
You were just the coolest.
the party was very, very fun. However, unlike 4th grade, I don't remember thinking like, I'm the best. This is incredible.
You
like,
lost the melon turtleneck by then.
Yeah, I was just like, I mean, it was fun and I was excited and the party was great, but I wasn't internally thinking like, I'm incredible and amazing.
I mean, 16's good. You know, you get your license.
You get your permit.
You start to
Pennsylvania.
drive. You know, like there's just
Yeah.
cool aspects of that.
Right. Because I actually think 10th grade was probably my least favorite grade, but I'm just saying that like that moment of 16 was very cool. And I really remember it even at 36.
Carving it in the mountain.
20 years ago.
Wow.
What?
Old lady.
And then, okay, so I said Mount Rushmore favorite ages growing up. So I'm going to say 18 and under. So like I'm going to let myself go past that. So then I'd probably say senior year, because I've circled all the way back around to 4th grade vibes of I totally know what's going on. I have everything figured out. And
I'm really good at everything.
I'm basically a totally grown up adult, and I have got this.
You ever just like think about how dumb you actually were?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like,
Something scary?
I'm thinking I hear a kid in the bathroom. And so,
Monster.
yeah, like, yeah, it is funny to think about that.
Yeah.
And then even, I mean, I feel like we're going to feel that way kind of almost always.
100%.
Because then I think about like being out of college and I'm like, I had a new version of like, I got this. Coupled with internal crippling fear of I don't have this at all, of course, because then you're entering like real life. Yeah. Early marriage. We got this. Anyway, so 18 and under.
Okay. For me,
I kind of have to go by grades.
I don't have the best memory.
I don't either.
I will say that. Like I just remember like, and maybe this is like, I don't know, maybe the 7 in the Enneagram would explain some of this, but I just remember life being fun. Like there's no, I can think of any time in life, and you might be like, no, we were miserable. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that is true. I think I just remember the fun parts. Like, and so,
sounds about right.
So it's hard for me to be like, oh, this was better than this.
Right.
I do feel like as I've been able to mature and express my emotions in a healthy way, I am realizing more and more that now is the golden age.
Well, yes.
You know, that is true. So when I look back, it's always hard for me to understand of like, do I actually remember what that was actually like in that grade or that at that age, or am I just like romanticizing it because I can only remember?
I mean, I think that's a lot of looking.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
Anyway, so this question is hard for me.
Yeah, I said like 10th grade was actually my worst school year, friend wise, all the things wise.
Yeah.
But
so I really have. So I won Student of the Year in 2nd grade.
Top of the list.
In the whole elementary school.
Ooh, not just in 2nd grade, not in of the 2nd grade.
Student of the Year.
Frickin' year. Student
Whoa,
of the year. Well,
hard
I feel like it.
Jeez.
Sorry, guys. You got to bleep that out. I just feel like that's worth it.
I have a certificate somewhere that says it. And I don't know. Maybe there were a bunch of Students of the Year.
You don't remember.
But
all you remember is that you were the best. That adds up. Okay.
And I just went by T.
Right.
No J. Too long.
Too long, too much time.
Just T.
Yeah.
My teacher was Miss Grant.
Why say lot word when few word do trick?
Why waste time? Say lot word when few word do trick.
So I remember that, but I don't have like any sort of like specific memories of like what that year actually entailed. I just know that I won Student of the Year.
So second grade, whatever age that is.
Miss Graham was also my teacher, and I had a crush on her.
Okay.
So I should
Does
probably
that count
look
for
her up.
2 or no?
What about Miss Graham's up to?
Who knows? You probably find her on the gram.
Okay. I really did enjoy my senior year because that's when I started getting into music. I was in Shirts and Skins, one of the best bands to ever exist. I was like more comfortable being myself by my
Yeah.
senior year.
Yeah.
I wasn't cutting weight for wrestling. I just wrestled the weight that I weighed. So that was
Yeah.
a nice, you know, I'd wrestled 4 years, which was my main sport. And so it was like, you know, that last year was fun.
You
Like it was,
survived.
yeah,
You
it was
made
just
it.
like, you know, I wrestled with the same guys and like, you know, we had camaraderie and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So I'd say that one was pretty good. When we moved to Pennsylvania, the first year we lived in Pennsylvania, I was in 5th grade, and there was a blizzard, the blizzard of 95, I want to say,
Or 96.
96, some big
Yes,
blizzard in
On
that
the
region.
East Coast. I remember.
It was our first winter, and so we're just like,
I guess this
this
is
is
normal.
amazing.
No, that was like record-setting
Yeah.
blizzards. We have
School
so many
was
pictures of
closed for like a week.
it. At least
You weren't even allowed to drive anywhere. Like my sister was at my aunt's house because we didn't know, like, oh, you should probably get her home. So she lived with my aunt for a week,
Oh my word.
I think. Sam,
Or
yeah.
a while.
Yeah. But me and Nick made stop motion. We played in the snow a ton, but in the downtime when we were outside, we made stop motion G.I. Joe videos, which again, I don't know if they're lost to time or where they are. But I just remember having so much fun and thinking we were so cool.
Yeah.
And when I watched them, I'm like kind of pudgy, got this gross yellow
Greasy.
yellow greasy sweatshirt on. I have
Hey,
a,
me and you with our
I have
off
a-
yellow
I
green.
have a bowl cut, and Nick's
You have too much hair to have a bowl cut.
and Nick's interviewing me between videos,
Like the
like the director, and I'm, you know, hamming it up, but too much.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so that
But you can't just see that for the wonderful magic childhood of just imagination.
right.
And
If I saw my
I
kids
don't care
do
what
that,
people
I would
think.
be like, yes, absolutely. But there's part of me that's embarrassed by it. Like
even still.
maybe not those
Yeah.
specifically, but like we watched some home videos and like I had a hard time watching them because I felt like I was just so obnoxious. And maybe it's
Oh,
because
that's
like the
that-
boy energy and just like
Right.
the age, but like it's just hard for me to be like, oh gosh, I was annoying. Why did anyone like?
I don't know, did anybody? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe that's why I got real into emo music because I wasn't sure. Those are kind of the only three.
Okay.
I don't know if I have a fourth,
That's
but those
okay.
are the three that really resonate with me. I mean, you know, obviously when you get to learn how to drive and like get your license and stuff is obviously just like a huge.
It's
like,
just a big
you're
milestone.
just like, man, a whole
Feel-
new world.
Freedom. I
got
remember.
my cell phone at my senior year, my first
Wow,
cell
I didn't
phone.
get a cell phone until college.
So that was a big deal. Orange case,
Mine was a green phone.
Nokia, like the brick.
No, mine. I think mine was a Nokia.
Nokia.
Mine didn't slide open or anything though.
Okay. Mine was just literally the brick,
Okay.
like the phone that you could drop
Like a
off a
walkie-talkie.
building. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could play Snake.
I remember not long after having my license, my cousin Kate, who is only like a year older than me, and even though they didn't live in the same state as us, we saw them a lot. And so for not having a sister, she was probably the closest thing I had to a
Right.
sister. And I'd say that like she's not around anymore. Kate's fine, everybody. But like they had come up for, okay, so I would have gotten my permit in October.
Okay.
I would have then had 6 months of a permit. And so it would have been like springish
Mm-hmm.
sometime that I would have actually gotten my license. I think they came up for Easter
Okay.
because I remember being in Easter outfits and I was allowed to
Melon,
drive.
turtleneck.
Probably. Were Kate and I matching? Probably. Except I had like the warm tone version of whatever we found and she'd have the cool tone
Oh,
version.
wow. You guys
So it
are
was like
cool.
same old Navy shirt, but like 2 different tones. Got it. Did we have braids? Probably. And
I have done nothing wrong. Ever.
And so we decided we were going to go to the mall or somewhere. I just remember the direction we were driving, but I had just gotten a new Josh Groban CD.
Grobanite.
So we popped it in and I was like new to listening to it. I hadn't listened to it. It might have even been my first time, or maybe she had the CD. I don't know. Neither of us had ever listened. So we were not prepared for what was coming, which was a few tracks in this. I mean, that man can sing. Let me just say that like almost no other. And so there's that. We're like emotional 16, 17-year-old girls feeling all the things. We have the freedom of my car. And so
And the Groves is
and the
playing.
Groves is playing. And there's this moment. I'll have to find the actual track and I'll talk about it for subscribers. I'll find the track and I'll play it. There was a moment. This is so silly. There's a moment where He's like, it's crescendoing. He's singing. It's getting louder. And then a choir comes in, like full blast, like
Too much.
Jesus choir. And I kid you not, we both burst into tears so instantly that I had to pull over so we could both stop crying to then get back on the road.
I've never heard this.
And I don't think I've ever told you. And I just, and we
my
joke
face
about
hurts.
it. We joke. Remember that time we started crying really hard at Josh Groban's CD and had to pull over? This is one of those moments in life. This is a Josh Groban moment. Like, I think we've used it to
You
describe.
don't get a lot of them.
No, There's only a few in life. You got it. You won't be ready for him. That's why they're a Josh Groban moment of just like, hold on.
That's how Josh Groban made his mark.
He'll get you.
You're not ready for him.
No. But anyway, you were talking about getting your license
Oh,
and how
man,
it's
that's-
monumental. So
This is.
I'm
the,
okay. Are you
this
okay?
is the power
notes.
of the no notes.
No notes.
No notes.
This is
No
the-
notes.
these
No
are the-
notes.
No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
No.
These are the deep tracks you get on a no note show.
yeah.
So
But speaking of no notes, do you have anything?
I have some
You
strong
have-
feelings.
Oh, you're gonna do segment. Got
Yeah.
it.
And I've shared these before, but I'm just going to keep sharing them because they're some of my strongest feelings. Movies aren't good anymore.
Yeah,
And
it's a
it-
bummer.
Just as someone who deeply, deeply loves movies.
Yeah.
It's just every time, like Friday night we watch like a family movie, which like we're going back to the 90s and the 80s, and
Mhm.
like last week we watched Herbie Fully Loaded. You
That's
know,
even the 2000s. I
yeah,
think.
Lindsay Lohan.
Early 2000s.
Girls loved it.
Yeah. Hey, she looks like Annie from Parent Trap.
Yeah.
It is.
No, she looks like her. No, it is her.
It is her.
No, her hair's different.
But what about Hallie? Well, it's the same actress playing both in Parent
Anyway,
Trap.
let's just hit it. Let's just play.
just watch. This car's magic, kids. Come on.
But yeah, they're just like, I don't know. Like we click through Netflix and it's just like, it's just not good. And I feel like the best critic I've heard describe it is just like, we are entering an era where we're not filmmakers anymore. We're content creators, which is like, that's true. Like Disney is just spewing out a sludge of content just so you watch more and just the
Just
only
so you consume more, to buy more, to subscribe more.
right. They're only
Mm-hmm.
it's not like, hey, we're releasing this because it's good. We're releasing this so you get excited about the next thing we release.
Kind of.
And it's like that's the only thing that they do is like insert cameos so that you get excited about the thing that you actually liked and maybe about the next thing.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. It's just like a content stream. There's not really much filmmaking or artistic creativity involved. The other thing that I feel like is so well said, I forget who said it, which guy that I watch, is that there is not a single classic being made right now. There's nothing in 10, 20 years that's being made that you'll be like, man, that show or that movie or that film is a classic. You got to watch this.
You have to watch it. And then, because I was saying that, I said they're going to run out because they're not making anything good enough now to remake in 20 years when our kids want the nostalgic
Like, almost
thing.
everything is forgettable. Like,
Almost.
you know, like I'll take one of my favorite shows, for example. I've got two favorite shows of all time. One is The Office,
Right.
which is, still today, one of the most
Relevant
viewed
and
shows.
most streamed. Yeah.
People love it. It's, memes, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's a classic, The
Yes.
Office. Comedy. So you can have a comedy classic. Seinfeld would be another one.
Yeah.
Comedy classic show. People will talk about it for all of time.
Yeah.
On the other side, the more dramatic side, Breaking Bad. A classic show about like a broken
Yeah.
hero villain, like just heartbreaking and
It was a well done. It was
and
hard to watch
super
at
well
times, but
done
it was
and, like,
well done.
just like an incredible show.
Yeah.
And it's like you aren't getting either of those right now.
No.
You're getting a show that, hey, this is kind of funny, like a few episodes, or oh, this is kind of a cool story. Oh no, it's not a cool story. Like that. And
Yeah.
so I just feel like those are my strong feelings. And I think they'll be my strong feelings for a while, which is just like sad to me that I'm just like, as someone, and if you like reading, like it'd be like, oh, hey, they're not writing any cool new books. And so like in other art forms, people are still making cool stuff.
Correct. Because
But
I
it's
want to be like, well, people are still
specifically-
writing great books.
But it's specifically like the Hollywood
Yeah.
sort of bubble of just like,
Which
we're gonna,
also shocks me. I'm like, people are still writing great books. maybe turn those into a movie
But they
and
can't.
don't ruin it.
But they can't because it doesn't align with them politically or socially. And so they have to change
yeah.
the source material to fit their needs, which then makes it not a classic.
Yeah.
Because the book that they're remaking is a classic.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, my favorite book series, Red Rising, I don't want it to be made into a movie or show.
Yeah, you said
Not
that.
at least for 20 years. Anyways,
Wow.
those are my feelings, and they're very strong.
They are.
I'm very passionate about it.
They're on fire.
They're on fire.
They're on fire. I don't have any strong feelings this week. I just like.
Well, you had a
I
lot
don't-
of strong emotions this week.
That's true. So I had strong feelings, but not. It's not specific to
yeah.
one thing. No, what I was going to ask you is like, do you feel like have you highlighted anything recently? And I mean, I don't mean super recently because obviously we haven't done anything other than work stuff. But do you feel like you're learning anything? Do you feel like you are just like, you know what I've been churning about at 3 a.m. when I'm awake?
One,
Is that just me?
I really hope you guys can't hear Daisy. She's screaming downstairs.
Yeah,
Not like
she's not alone.
not mad screaming, just like, hey, I'm a kid and I'm here. Look at
I'm
me.
a kid and I'm here and I want something and I can't communicate that. So I'm just
So-
going to yell until you point at the right thing.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
So what I feel like, and I kind of talked about it last week, but what I feel like, I haven't been reading basically anything,
Mhm.
which is not great. But also, I don't feel like a lot of conviction over it. I just feel like that's just the season I'm in right now. Like,
Well, that's the myth
get
of
up-
the like, life's only good or right or whatever
Yeah.
if it's balanced. And you got to balance those 24 hours
Yeah.
or those 7 days.
yeah,
And it's like, well, I don't know. I just hope you read a good amount throughout this year.
right.
And if it wasn't in the last 9 weeks, so be it.
So be it. Yeah. And it's like we're in a rhythm of like, I get up early with Daisy, and so like I'm not getting up even earlier
Right.
to read a bunch. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
me and Daisy have our time together in the morning where I make her breakfast, I make her eggs, I make myself eggs, you know, and then the big girls get up and then Brooke gets up. And like that's our kind of rhythm right now.
Right.
And so like I'm super
I feel the need to say that I'm often up before the big girls. Oh, gosh. You really feel like I'm always the one sleeping in? Or just this
I
morning?
mean,
Because I was
we're
up
not
late.
sleeping in. Like
No, it's 6:15.
yeah. I feel like
Very
you
true.
are the girls are in the kitchen before you come into the kitchen, whether you're up or not.
Oh, yeah.
They're
I guess, yeah.
we're at the four. I have time with all three of my daughters in the morning before you come downstairs, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It was not a judgment statement.
Okay.
I mean, everyone's judging you. Are you even a mom?
Right.
There's some spice.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't prepare us all breakfast.
No.
In
Did I
mason
buy all the
jars?
groceries so that you could make your own breakfast? Yes. So figure it out, people. No.
Anyways, so I was talking about it last week. I just feel like, you know, what I'm learning and realizing is like, and it's not rocket science. It's not going to blow anybody's
not brain science.
mind. It's not brain science. It's like, you know, good brain, great skull type level of thinking that, you know, life is a constant, like life constantly needs tinkering with like all aspects of life. And
Yeah.
so I think what I'm realizing this year in this season is like, I took too long to tinker with the way that we do our business.
Mm.
And so I'm feeling the sort of like pressure, stress, anxiousness of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, you know, like if you don't brush your teeth, eventually you'll get a cavity.
Right.
And it's just the consistency of like, I'm going to check in with my dental hygiene. I just went to the dentist, so no cavities.
Nice. Me neither.
Nice. You know, I will then at some point have to do something big to fix them, you know?
Right.
And so it's like, I am realizing that like, man, I think sometimes I get paralyzed by the opportunity or the options out there. Like we live in an era, in an age where like you can run a business in 1,000 different ways with
Yeah.
different options. And like, you know, before it's like, well, you had to have a store because how else would people find you? Or like you had to go door to door or else people would know about you. Now with the
Right.
internet, like you can do open close, you can do always open, you can do inventoried, you can do non-inventoried, you can do made to order, made to purchase. Like there's just so many options. And so I
Screen
think,
printing, print on demand.
yeah. And so I think sometimes I feel like if I start tinkering, like what road is it going to lead me down and how stressful will that road be? And,
Right.
and how will I be able to like manage that stress? And so let me just like play it safe and do what I know how to do. And then it's like, if you do that too long, it's almost
You probably should have adjusted a little sooner.
yeah, and just like, you know,
Mhm.
and it's not even like let's change everything, you know, like I taught my T-shirt Academy class and first thing I said to everyone was like, I want you guys to hear this before I start.
Yeah.
I am not telling you to like delete your website tonight and do what I do. Like I'm just
Yes.
giving you my own personal experience.
Which I chuckled in the other room hearing you say that because I'm like, it's
Because
easy to be there when you're like, oh, okay, so that's how you're doing this, or that's how you're parenting, or that's how you handle that. I'm gonna delete my whole website and start over.
delete my whole website and start over. And I think that there are times maybe when that's appropriate in life, like, you know, like,
Yeah, there. I don't have an example, but there's probably times.
you know, I like fitness is always an example that I use. Like if you're like, man, I've just totally let myself go. I'm uncomfortable. I'm unhealthy. Like I'm starting to have serious like physical health ramifications. I need to delete my website of the way that I live my life
right.
physically and reboot
Kind
it.
of do something drastic
Yeah,
sometimes.
There are definitely times of that, but I feel like what I find myself feeling is scared that that's where I'm going to end. And so let me just not absorb any other information. But because I'm not absorbing any information, I'm not making the little like tinkering course corrections
Yeah.
that I need to make.
Yeah.
I once heard a story, and I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's any accurate, but the metaphor was great. So I'm going to tell
Okay,
the story
sure.
that like when they send a rocket to the moon,
Mm-hmm.
they have to plan it accordingly. Like the moon's in orbit, the rocket's moving. And so
Right.
it's like, you're not shooting for the moon, you're shooting for where the moon's going to be. And then they
In
course
X time.
correct as
Yes.
they go, and they, you know, send out those.
Oh, to
Yeah.
move it back and
Yeah.
forth. Yeah.
And it's like, I think there are times in life where I feel like I am scared that if I course correct and send out a little tsk of air, I'm going to miss the moon completely. And I'm just going to be floating out in space, feeling lost and confused and frustrated. And so, well, maybe
But isn't that kind of how you are
that's how I feel now.
in the front end anyway?
And so I end
Yeah.
up getting frustrated at myself that like, you didn't course correct as you were going, and now you're in the exact same scenario that you're in. Like you have to course correct, but now you're doing it under an immense amount of pressure
Yep.
rather than just like tinkering with it as you go.
Yep.
Like,
Me. I mean, literally what I said
Yeah.
at the beginning of like, and like, I have a super specific example, but it was like, I was talking to you about something this past week, and I was like, I don't know, it's bad either way. I either rip the Band-Aid off slowly, which hurts, or I rip it off fast, which hurts. Speed is not my question. Speed is not what's in question right now. It's going to hurt either way.
Yeah.
And so I just need to pick one. And like, you know,
Right.
and I think it was funny because you brought that like course correcting thing in, and my example was going to be, it's like, I feel like, and I'll lump myself in with this, but you're the one talking about it. Like we felt just the tiniest bit fuzzy about the moon or whatever
Yeah.
the thing is that we're trying to hit. And because that was a little bit fuzzy and maybe moving a little more than we'd hoped, it felt harder to kind of let ourselves wiggle and course correct our way to get there. It felt like, no, this is the one way to get there, and that's our thing. And it felt like a little more panicked. And so I think your analogy of being afraid you course correct and miss the moon entirely. And so it's like, but if you don't course correct at all, you probably will miss the moon
entirely.
because that's even what brain scientists have to do.
And
Which
so
is
I think something that's been helpful,
aim
like,
for it.
like, you know, I went to Integrated. That was super helpful. Like, cause the guy was, a lot of my stress comes from finances, like 1,000%. That is something that stresses me out.
Yeah.
More than anything. Like, you know, just
more
like
than relationships,
yeah.
more than,
more
other-
than like, I don't get in my head, like someone said something. Does that mean they don't like me? Or like so-and-so hasn't talked to me in a while. I wonder, like,
Yeah.
that stuff doesn't stress me out. I mean, occasionally it does. I'm a human being, but like,
right.
if I have this unhelpful chart and graph about checking your bank account, like even if I know and I know all of our balances, I still get nervous to check in on our finances
Right.
because there's this like fear deep down that like, it's not going to be enough. And
Yeah.
that means I'm a failure. And that means Brooke married the wrong man. And like, I
Right.
just spiral so quickly, specifically over money.
Right.
And the Lord has always provided.
Always.
And he's always provided, and I know that. And so
Mhm.
it's just like this weird think it's the way I get attacked by, I think it's the way I get spiritually attacked. I think it's the way that I get pulled out of the game. Like, and anyway, so again, something I'm always working on. But that's why, and again, I go to Integrated, the guy's a financial expert. We're going to talk all finances. I get sick.
Yeah.
And I'm like sort of hazy the whole time. But that was super helpful of just like, especially when he talked about like, and we talked about this on, I think the episode, Talk to Your Kids About Money, about like having a life cap. Like, this is how much money we need to make. Anything else, it's going into the abundance fund and we're going to let God use it however he wants. And so for us, like having this, like, okay, here's our monthly life cap goal.
Yeah.
And now in our weekly plan meeting, it's like, okay, we're at X percentage. We're 28% of the way there for this month. Like, and it's just been super helpful of like, that is because like, I don't have an issue with like, what's our family mission? What's our family goal? Like, like missionally and like purposefully, like what Jesus has put on earth, us on earth to do. I don't have trouble feeling that or being inspired to do that, or just like that is not an issue for me. It's all the like, I guess, mechanics, like behind the scenes of the family stuff that I'm just like, I don't know, how much money should we make? Should it just be more? Should it always be more? What, like, does it need to be more? I don't know. Looks like it does need to be more. I'm stressed out, you know, and it's like, and then we make more. And I'm like,
you turn around in your chair and you say things like, it's not enough. And I'm thinking, compared to what? As like, it's literally not enough to pay the bill, or it's not enough to have left over, or it's not enough to have an abundance, or it's not enough to what? And defining that, which that little life cap thing of like, here's what we need to just literally pay every bill, but then here's what we aim to make every month to like have some room for some things that we want to do, and then anything above that. And so it's like, that's the number we're aiming for now, which we're not near, but it's helpful.
So then that allows us to course correct.
We've named the moon.
We've named the moon that we're going for financially.
The monthly moon.
Which again, to me, was just that there was so much stress around that. And it might not be finances for you, it might be something else. But like, it's like, we have to name, okay, well then what is the goal here? What is the goal in this category? What is the goal in my fitness? What is the goal in my spiritual life? What is the goal in my family life? What is the goal for my children? What is the goal? I'm going to name that moon that we're traveling to, and we're going to course correct as we go, and not realize, oh, we're not even going to make it. Now what do we do? Now let's panic and just throw everything against the wall, which I feel like we were close to doing this year. And then we've just started to like, okay, here's the idea, you know. And again, like specifically with the finance stuff, it just can be stressful because like some of it can be out of your control. Like, we didn't know everything would cost more this year, like literally every single thing that we buy. And so there was just this element of like, man, I feel I'm already stressed about it just by default. Like, that's just my default stress level over that topic. And now everything's changing. So like, now I feel like I even have less control over it. And to me, it's like, it just always comes back to like, I can't control it. It's his. I need to have open hands about it and be generous with what, and just be thankful because it's all his. But it's still like, it's definitely, for me, it's like this mental, emotional challenge of just like, how do I not allow myself to get to the point where I'm like, it's too late, I failed, and just tinker and course correct
and realize you're still in the ship or whatever. You're still in it, course correcting. And the course correcting doesn't mean you have failed. In fact, that actually means you're still actively on the journey towards the thing. That's actually a good thing.
And absolutely. And like, if June came to me and was like, we give our kids an allowance. We talked about this in the kids' money issue, like that. It's basically money that they get to use to fail with. That's essentially the idea. That like,
so they learn.
And it's like, if June came to me and was like, Dad, I feel like I made a bad decision on what I bought or how I'm using my money, I'd be like, well, it's just part of life. Like, we learn as we go. Like, I would give her all the advice.
You would say, hey, let's course correct.
Let's course correct.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, when it's myself, I feel like either one, I can't, or two, I've waited too long, or three, like I'm too scared. And so I feel like all that to say in this like roundabout no notes way is like, I feel like what I'm learning is like, I sometimes expect something in life to be solved completely. Like, I'm done learning about this. I've made it. Like you in 4th grade. I expect.
Familiar with that posture of life. Yeah.
You're just like, I'm here. I figured out the turtlenecks are my thing forever. And I've got it solved.
Meaning like in said topic, whatever it is, you feel like you've already know what you need to know. And so it shouldn't need any course correcting.
That's kind of, I think
or you're bothered that it still does.
I think it's both. I think
which is all of life.
Yeah, 100%. And so that's what I'm learning in this year, really, of just like, what did you expect, TJ?
I mean, we literally moved halfway across the world. Excuse me. Did a bunch of very real life transitions, moving, new kid. Excuse me. Some of my health stuff with my voice, like,
yeah,
those are like literal massive course, not even just correcting, course changes
altering,
or course like altering. And so,
yeah. And so like
Yeah.
you asked me what I feel like I'm learning in this season is like,
yeah,
you better get used to this.
I think this is life.
Because this is life. And
Yeah.
like, and in other areas, I am used to it. And like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm willing and able in a lot of areas of life. But I think
Yes.
what this year has pointed out is those like the elephant graveyard spots of just
Yeah.
like, I don't really want to course correct there. I just want it like to be easy,
Mhm.
you know? And like, you'll meet the people at the gym who are like, man, do you like eat super healthy? And like, no, I just kind of eat whatever I want. And you're just like, gosh,
Yeah.
it's just easy. And some things for me are just easy. And
Uh-huh.
so there's someone looking at me or you, and they
Right.
have this category of like, that's just easy for them. And it's true, but there are definitely things that are not easy for me.
Right.
And I feel like what I'm learning in this season is like, you got to deal with them. And for a while, it was emotions.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Talking about my actual emotions. And as
Years
I've talked
ago,
about them
yes.
and as I've course corrected and learned and studied and developed, I've figured it out.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, the finance thing, and I'm not saying I'm like dumb financially. I've made,
Oh, no.
but it's just like, I don't know.
It gets to you. It
just
stresses you
gets
out
to
more
me,
than
and I don't-
other things.
and I can't really figure out why.
Almost to a disproportion in an outsider's opinion to I mean, I'm not a total outsider to you, but I mean,
Yeah.
like
Like,
speaking
like
on your
we
behalf,
we
like,
hired a financial planner a few years ago,
Yeah.
a friend of mine. And he's like, and he told this to me, I've never had someone be so hard on themselves as you are on yourself about your finances. And he's
Yeah.
like, and you look like you're in pretty good shape. Like, obviously there's always room for improvement,
Yeah.
but he's like, you have, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. Because like my parents, I think, have a super healthy relationship with money. So it's like,
Right. You didn't grow up in, yes. You're not like, oh, there it is.
like,
Let me talk about that in therapy.
No,
Let
no.
me call Laura and we'll figure it out.
Let me call Bianca, have her ask Laura.
Have her FaceTime Laura in. Say, we're splitting the session fee. It's fine.
Who are you?
Yeah. I'm sorry. What?
And so, yeah, it's just, I feel like that's what I'm learning. And
Yeah.
it's
That's
been,
good.
it's been a challenge to, I don't know.
Sit in it and
Sit
not
in it.
jump ship.
Yeah. And not just be like, I'm deleting the website. Let's, like,
Mhm.
because I think like sometimes there's that urge, especially in the self-employment world, like, let's just do something completely different, and it's
Yeah.
like, well,
And I think yeah. I mean, we're talking about it in the like finance. You're talking about it in the business finance world, but it could be anything. It could be relationships. It could be what I'll call a more regular job, and I mean that compared to ours where we work for ourselves from home. But like everything feels hard, and everything feels tight, and everything feels stressful, and so maybe I'll
yeah, it's like if you
do
ran,
something-
if it's like you're running a marathon and you're halfway through and you're
Mhm.
like, this is hard. You know what? I'm just running a different race now.
yeah.
And it's like, well, that other race is going to be just as hard.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
maybe you can just take a little break and keep going, or like maybe you need new shoes, or maybe you need some water, or like,
Right.
maybe you just need something to help you on your race
Yeah.
and you'll be able to finish. And so I just feel like I'm learning that like, it's not an option for me to just start a new race.
Right.
So like, let's work with the race that I'm on
Yeah.
and let's figure it out and let's course correct and like maybe change some expectations, maybe ask for some help, maybe take some new classes, maybe,
Well, there's something. Sometimes the course correction is not actually a plan of action. It's a adjusting of expectations.
Yeah.
And that can be
and
huge.
and what's crazy is like, I've seen we've done this before in ways like we literally stopped selling shirts for 6 months
Mhm.
thinking we were done. And it was just like this giant course correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen the Lord provide. I've seen him show up in my life. And like, I remember the lion and the bear,
Mm-hmm.
but there are times where I don't know, maybe it's a spiritual tag, maybe it's something deeper, but I definitely feel like I've been in it I don't know, for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's both it's tiring and I feel worn out from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want it to be over.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that like these are the moments of life where you actually are sanctified
Mm-hmm.
and are formed more in the likeness of Jesus.
Yeah.
And so it's like I want to sit here as long as I need to sit here. But dear Lord, can I stop sitting here? That's
Yeah.
how I feel.
Right,
And
right.
so it's
Yeah,
just like,
Yeah. I mean, Bianca and I were talking about it last night. Like, you know, I believe that the Lord redeems all things. It's going to make me emotional. You know, but I just, you know, I'm speaking for myself and I hope that I'm not out of line in saying this, but I don't believe in a God that is up there pulling the strings like we're all little puppets.
right.
To be like, let me teach you a lesson.
Right.
Yeah. Like that is
It's
not
a really good puppet.
puppeteer. It's a very creepy one, apparently. Like, I just don't believe that. What I do believe is that we live in a fallen world.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a world that is hard and tragic and unfair and all these things over here. And then the Lord can redeem it all.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that he's up there being like, the only way to teach you patience is to make this horrible thing happen to you.
Right.
And I think it's unfortunate that so many people, whether they've admitted it or not, or realize it or not, or named it or not, think that like, oh, you know, I guess God doesn't want me to be happy, or God doesn't want me to have good
I
things.
said Scott. I was like, who is Scott?
Who no. I guess God, you know, or like,
Yeah.
because there is so much tragedy in the world that people are like, I just don't understand how God would let this happen. And I'm like, that's a different statement than God did this. And like, I just feel like he does redeem all things. And so it's like, yeah, you're sitting in this thing, which might be happening for a lot of different reasons, but I do believe that the Lord will redeem it. I just,
And what I've learned, because I've gone through this sort of, you know, we're always being sanctified,
right.
you know, and the Spirit's always convicting us and showing us like, hey, you shouldn't do that. Or, hey, this is not the way,
Mm-hmm.
you know. What I do realize this time, I think more than ever, is like, I'm just going to sit.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit and I'm going to be still and I'm just going to try to listen. And I'm not going to be scared because you are with me. Like, and that's the lesson that I feel like I'm learning is like, he's with me.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to walk it out in faith, even if I don't see it, even if I'm still clenchy every time I have to check the bank account or whatever. And I'm just going to sit there. And so if you find yourself in a similar scenario where you're like, man, I feel like for 6 months, I've just been like, what is going on? Why do I feel this way? Or I'm stressed, or the anxiety sky high is like, and again, this is the lesson that I learned when we stopped doing Walk in Love originally, was like, I felt like for a year I ran from, like, it was like the scene in a movie, a good movie, a classic, where someone runs into the hospital with someone in their arms and like, I don't know what happened. He just collapsed or she just collapsed.
Yeah.
And, you know, you run in and they're like, and people jump into action and save this person.
Right.
You know, and I feel like what I often do is I run to, first I don't run to God with my problem. I run to someone and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Can you help me?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what if you, and they're like, okay, that's not what I need. Can you help me? That's not what I need.
Yeah.
Can you help me? That's not what I need. Can you, like, and you're just like trying to
Yeah.
like fix your problems almost like on a Band-Aid over a, you know,
Gaping
wound. And then it's like, and then what I realize is like when I come to the Lord and I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
And you lay it down. That's
He
what I
li-
would say.
Yeah,
Stop
he literally
carrying
just
it.
says, lay it down
Yeah.
and I will take care. Like, I will
Yeah.
be with you. I might not solve the issue. I might not fix it the way you think I'm going to fix it,
Yeah.
but I will be with you and I will comfort you. Like, though you walk through the valley,
Yeah.
I will comfort you. And
Yeah.
so it's just like, that is the season that I'm in this one hand, in this one area. But then there's this also just like, life is full right now.
Mhm.
We are skateboarding as a family. We
Right.
have a baby that's about to start walking. Like there are just such an abundance. And so I think another thing that I'm learning is like, this can be over here and I can work on this and I can have hard conversations with myself and with the Lord and with Brooke, but I'm not going to let this dictate
dominate
all
everything.
of this,
Yeah.
because this is so full and wonderful, and this is the gift that he has given me.
Yeah.
And maybe this needs some work, and that's great, and I'll work on that, but like
Yeah.
it's more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess I had a few things to talk
I
about.
guess you did. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, Bianca and I were talking about it last night about how you are anybody, you get in these seasons of like head down, eyes down. I got to do what I got to do, or I'm focused on this thing. Or like for you, you're carrying this thing and it's all you're looking at. And it's like, you know, and she said to me last night, she said, you know, but Jesus is the lifter of eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so true.
Mm-hmm.
And when we spend all of our time head down, and I don't mean like you got an hour and a half to get something done,
Right,
head
yeah,
down, like
yeah.
grind it out. I don't mean that, but I mean like as a life posture of like head down. I don't have time to look up. If I look up, I will fail. If I look up, I'll drop the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If I look up, I'll lose control.
Right.
I'm talking about that kind of a thing. And I think when we do look up, and I think it gets easier to set down what we're carrying
Right.
when we look up.
And just behold, like
yeah.
just behold the glory
Yeah.
and experience the goodness of the Lord. And yeah, that's I feel like that's one of the hardest things we'll always have to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. Yeah,
Okay.
Well, okay
Very
then.
good. Yep. Well.
All right. Well, good. Now, I know we've been talking a long time,
Yep.
and I think Daisy's very stressed out,
Okay.
so we need to go.
Releasing this on Sunday. So if you still haven't shopped the collection, you still have one more opportunity
Uh-huh.
if you're listening on Sunday. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making us part of your week.
Okay, I love you. Bye.